My name is Amy, and I'm on a journey to lose 180 pounds. And for the past year, I have been using Zepbound, a GLP-1 medication, to assist me with my weight loss. Now, I do travel a lot, so I do often get the question, well, Amy, how do you travel with your medication? Well, it really depends. It depends on how long I'm going to be gone, and it depends on what I have available at my destination. Now, for me personally, now remember, I am not a medical professional and this is not medical advice. But for me personally, if I'm going on a 7-day cruise or shorter or less than a 7-day vacation, it's very most likely that I'm not going to take the medication with me at all. If I have to push my date up a little bit early, my shot date, to make sure that I can take it before I go, I will do that. But if I'm 1 or 2 days delayed in taking my shot because I'm waiting to get home, I'm completely okay with that. So I don't mind taking my shot on a Friday and then not taking my shot until the Saturday after that, which is actually what I'm planning to do on my upcoming cruise. But I just got a message from a viewer on one of my live streams asking me, well, Amy, what do I do for a 40-night cruise? I've never traveled with my medication before, and I just don't know what to do. Well, let's talk about the transportation of your medication, the storage of it, the disposal, and some tips about your prescription. And I'm going to be covering Wegovy / Ozempic, which is the semaglutide, Zepbound and Mounjaro, which is the tirzepatide, as well as the Wegovy pill, because the manufacturers, they all have this information listed on their website. So I will go over all of that with you. So the first thing you're going to want to think about is, well, how long am I going to be gone? How many shots am I going to need? And am I going to actually take them every 7 days, or am I going to spread them out a little bit? Say, for instance, if you needed like 5.5 shots to cover 40 days, well, maybe you only want to take 5 shots with you and take the sixth a couple days delayed when you get home. Or maybe you just want to take all 6 with you. It's really going to depend, because it's going to depend on if you're covered by insurance and can you get that medication in advance of your trip. And make sure that when you're getting home after your trip, that you have medication for yourself. So if you take all of your medicine with you and you use it all while you're on the trip, and then you get home and it's going to be another 7 to 10 days before you can get a delivery, just make sure that you think about that in advance. Now, it is not the end of the world if you miss a dose or skip a dose or you extend out your medication. For most of us, we just end up having to struggle a little bit with some extra food noise. Now, I'm not recommending that you go weeks and weeks without your medication, but a few days here or there, from all of the information and all the commentary that I've heard from all of the people that I've talked to, most of us have absolutely no issue by kind of spreading things out a little bit while we're on vacation. Another thing that you really need to think about is the transportation. Like, how are you going to get it from your home to the airport, through the airport, cruise ship, and hotel? So the biggest things that I can recommend is that if you need to keep your medicine refrigerated because you're not going to be using it within the next 28 days for Wegovy, or within the next 21 days for Zepbound products, then you need to make sure that you keep it refrigerated while you're traveling. And their definition of refrigeration is between 36 degrees Fahrenheit and 46 degrees Fahrenheit, which is between 2 degrees Celsius and 8 degrees Celsius. So that is their definition of refrigeration. Just make sure too that you are not freezing your medication by accident, because when you do that, it does degrade the integrity of the medication, and actually the manufacturers don't recommend that you inject the medication after it has been frozen. So if you're taking ice packs with you, make sure that you are not setting the medication directly on the ice packs, and that you keep track of it to make sure that it is not freezing. Now, I know there are some products out there on the market from little lunch boxes that can actually be thrown into the freezer that have built-in ice packs. You can buy cases specifically like for insulin travel packs that can be refrigerated or have ice packs. One other tip is I actually have my box from my delivery. So this, my Zepbound comes in this huge giant box. I get 4 vials of Zepbound in this. And there are ice packs in here as well as some really thick insulation. So you could possibly reuse the ice packs that come in your box that you get with your medication. Now, it does say on this that this is long-lasting, reusable, and freeze to activate. And I'm probably going to actually throw these in my freezer so I have them for the next time that I'm going to be traveling in May for quite a while. And I do need to bring medication with me. And I don't need to keep it refrigerated because my trip's only going to be 10 days. So see the difference that if you're going to be having your medication and with you and not going to be able to use the Wegovy within 28 days or the Zepbound within 21 days, you do need to keep it refrigerated. Now do note that once you have pulled it out of the refrigeration and you don't have it on ice and it's not being cooled down to the temperature of 46 degrees Fahrenheit or under, or 8 degrees Celsius and under, that you do not refrigerate it. These are explicit instructions from the manufacturer's website. So these are not things that hearsay. I did actually go read the Wegovy website, and I did go to Eli Lilly and read all the information for the Zepbound. Now, again, like I said, if you are going on a 7-night cruise, 10-night cruise, 20-night cruise, you don't actually have to refrigerate your medication. So you do not need to be carrying it in a refrigerated bag or with ice packs. Just keep it cool. Make sure that you're keeping it, like it said, under 86 degrees. Would be the maximum temperature that they recommend it be exposed to. So last time I took it on a cruise ship with me, I just took a sealed needle that was in an actual plastic bag that it had came from the manufacturer, and I just took my little vial of Zepbound with me because mine come in these little boxes, and it's just one vial per box, and I just threw this in my purse. And security does not bat an eye. So if you're bringing ice packs in, they're not going to bat an eye at your medication. It also does recommend looking at the website. It does recommend make sure that you're keeping your pens and any vials in the original packaging. Also protect it from light. You shouldn't be exposing the liquid to light. Also make sure that before you inject the medication that you check to see if it is cloudy or if there appear to be any particles in the medication that could indicate that it has been frozen or damaged in transportation, and you would actually want to discard that medication. Now, a tip for the hotels and the cruise ship, you will definitely need to check to see what temperature range that the refrigerators will keep the medication at if you choose to store it in a refrigerator. Say if you do need to keep it longer than 28 days for Wegovy or 21 days for Zepbound. So I'd actually had previously found this information, but I am on the struggle bus trying to find what temperature do the in-room refrigerators keep medication or drinks or beverages or whatever on some of the cruise ships. Royal Caribbean used to have this listed on their website, but I couldn't find it. But the best that I could find was that it keeps it about 50 degrees, which is above the 46 degree recommended if you're going to be storing the tirzepatide, semaglutide in the refrigerator. So just make sure that if you do need to keep it for the extended period because you are, say, on a 40-day cruise, that you do make sure you fill out the special needs form and you ask for a medication refrigerator or a medical refrigerator because they do have them, especially for people who are traveling with insulin. And now that we've talked about storage, let's talk about disposal. For the Wegovy pens and the Zepbound pens, and either Ozempic or Mounjaro, or if you're using a vial and you're using a needle. So all of those are considered sharps. And it is recommended or a requirement that you use a sharps container unless you are taking it home with you. So if you're going to leave it on board, do not throw it in a regular trash can. Make sure that you're requesting a sharps container from your room attendant or from the hotel. Just be mindful that even though you may know that you don't have any transmissible disease by using your sharp, If you're putting it in a place where someone else could be exposed to that, how do they know that? So just think about like the impact on someone else if they came into contact with your sharp, if it wasn't disposed of properly. Now, when I was on Royal Caribbean, I was able to actually just go on my phone and use their app and request extra items to the cabin. So just make sure that you're checking with the cruise line or your hotel to make sure that you can have a refrigerator or cooler that is keeping your medication between 36 degrees and 46 degrees Fahrenheit. And that is between 2 degrees Celsius and 8 degrees Celsius. Now, for the Wegovy pill, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think you'd have to do anything special, but it does say that you should just make sure that you're storing the tablets at room temperature between 68 degrees Fahrenheit and 77 degrees Fahrenheit. So that can't be exposed to as high a temperature range as the liquid medication. That is between 20 degrees Celsius and 25 degrees Celsius. It does also say to make sure that you're storing the medication in your closed Wegovy bottle until use. Make sure that you're protecting it from humidity and light. So especially if you're on a cruise ship, make sure you're keeping it away from moisture. So again, travel with this medication should be absolutely simple. Just make sure that you're thinking about, well, how many days are you going to be gone? How many shots or pills do you need to take with you? And if you are not using the pens, make sure that you bring an extra needle or two just in case you accidentally break one, because I have done that in the past. Make sure you're requesting a sharps container if you need it, if you're not just taking your pen or your needle home with you. And make sure you properly dispose of your vial. Make sure that you keep the medication in a temperature controlled environment. Try not to let it sit out in the sun. It shouldn't be exposed to more than 86 degrees for the liquid medication. That is the pens and the vials. And then again, make sure that you're checking with your doctor about your prescription. So if your medication is covered by insurance and you need a 40 or 60-day supply, make sure you're doing it in enough time to haggle with the insurance company, because I'm sure they are probably going to balk when you say that you need a 2-month supply to take with you. You know, if you normally get 4 pens once a month and all of a sudden you need 8 pens, they may not be willing to fill in advance, but just work with your doctor on that. So I am just getting ready to get on a cruise in a few days. And when you're seeing this, I will probably be on a cruise. And my cruise is only 7 days. So I'm not taking my medication with me. I'm going to take it on my normal shot day, which is Friday. And then I return home Saturday afternoon. And after I get home, I will just take my shot. So that just means that I don't have the hassle of carrying it with me. And maybe I'll be a little extra hungry on Friday, but that's okay. You know what? It's vacation. All of the weight, anything that I put on while I'm on the cruise will come off of the very next week, because most of the time it's just water weight. So thank you for stopping by. So if you've made it this far in the video, thank you for stopping by. As always, Marcia and Kevin are very excited to see you. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video. So just make sure if you have any questions about traveling with the medication, just leave them in the comments, because I'd love to hear from you and I'd love to be able to answer you if I can. So have a fabulous day, and I'll see you in the next one.
4 cats, 1 scale, and a suitcase to pack. Zepbound in hand, there's no looking back. Cruising through this journey, non-scale victory's divine. But can Amy lose the weight without losing her mind?